What would you give to save the person you love? For the right person, the only answer is everything. And for Konosuke Ryudo to save the woman who gave his life meaning, everything is a small price to pay. When a life is lived without purpose, it's easy to lose track of the important things and slip into an endless cycle of self-doubt. Konosuke Ryudo was a man from a long lineage of noble samurai and trained his entire life to be the same. It's all he ever wanted, all he ever knew. But in an almost comedically cruel twist of fate, he was born with the incredible disposition of scaring metal. Coins, pots, ornaments, anything remotely metal bent and deformed away from his body. Even swords, especially swords, and for a man born to be a samurai, there could have been no greater curse. Unable to continue his family's line of work, his life quickly fell into ruin. His mother was murdered because, as he believed, he couldn't pick up a sword to protect her. His father passed away, leaving just him, his loyal servants, and a tarnished family name. Because what is a samurai without his blade? I could go on and on for a while about the shame and disgrace he faced by not being able to lift a sword or having to carry a wooden blade in his sheath instead of a blade. But this isn't a story about a man proving himself to the world by overcoming his demons. No, this is a story about a man overcoming the world to save her. You see, one day after a series of heartbreaking incidents, Ryudo has reached his wit's end. He's tired of the life he lives and wants it all to come to an end. But even without a blade, he's still a samurai and wishes to die a samurai's death. So he picks a fight with some thugs down by the river. He goes into the fight fully prepared. No, he picks this fight hoping to be cut down and to be brought to an end to his suffering. But after finding out they couldn't actually stab him to death, the thugs do the next best thing: drown him. And as he sinks deeper and deeper into the depths, he relives his greatest failure. If only he could hold a sword, then maybe, just maybe. But no, there's no more need for all that. All he wants to do is close his eyes and rest. But fate had other plans for Ryudo. It was not yet his time to die. He woke up in his home dazed and confused, but was even more confused when a man appeared outside his home with an invitation to a wedding. His wedding. Before he knew what was happening, Ryudo was married and was living with a woman he'd never met before. Obviously, he was incredibly skeptical about all of this. A bunch of money and a beautiful bride doesn't just drop into somebody's lap, especially not his. But the money that came with the marriage was enough to alleviate his financial situation for the time being. So he just let it happen. And frankly, his new wife Suki was incredibly beautiful. But she wasn't just a pretty face. Even more strange than the circumstances surrounding his marriage was the fact that she seemed to know him. About his curse and how the shame and self-doubt it brought plagued him, how he saw himself as worthless because he couldn't lift a sword. But she also knew that these things didn't define him. But Ryudo was a broken man, and broken men rarely see reason. He had spent his entire life being hurt, and hurt people hurt people. He didn't understand why this woman had come into his life and was speaking about his pain, his struggle, his anguish, his burden like she understood him. He couldn't stand her, let alone love her. No matter how much she tried to prove to him that he could be a good wife, a good friend, someone who would be there for him, her actions seemed to do nothing more than push him away. Until one day, something happened out in the city, something that hadn't happened since his mother passed away. Suki exhibited an act of bravery and compassion reminiscent of the only other woman that ever truly loved him, his mother. And when the time came to defend his wife from the consequences that followed, he did. He saved her life. Even without a blade, he protected his wife. He performed the duties of a samurai. No, of a husband. For the first time in his life, he had purpose, and for the first time since the death of his mother, he felt loved and loved. And while he still felt regrets about not being able to save his mother that day, something had changed. This seemingly random woman was changing his life. Months passed and their love grew and blossomed. With her help, Ryudo was getting his life back on track. He even managed to get a job. He was doing everything in his power to care and provide for Suki, because she meant everything to him. Life for the time being was perfect. But if you were expecting a beautiful slice of life manga, you're on the wrong channel. One day a strange man appeared with a supernatural ability to control water, even the water within a person's body, and demanded Ryudo handed over Suki. But with his newfound love and devotion to his wife, Ryudo fought back the strange man with everything he had. He would not let his reason for living be taken away. Not again. But even if he could hold a sword, he was no match for the water wielder, and his wife knew this. So in an effort to save her husband's life, Suki gave herself up to be taken. Ryudo had failed once again to save the person he loved, but this time would be different. As long as Suki still drew breath, he would find her and save her. He knew nothing about the world he was about to step into, nothing about beings who seemed to have special abilities and why they wanted this seemingly ordinary wife, nothing about ancient powers that controlled darkness and bent the divines with their wills, nothing about his strange gift that seemed to make metal bend in his presence, but he knew one thing for sure. Even if he had to rip the moon out to the sky, he was getting his wife back. Steel of the Celestial Shadow was a long name for a manga with a premise as short and sweet as this. Matsura Daruma had quite frankly written the only love story I've ever cared about reading. Usually, under a premise like this, you'd expect Ryudo to be on a warpath, cutting down anything that gets between him and his wife. But no, this isn't a story about revenge, it's a love story. Ryudo needs his wife back and the love that comes with her. He's a man consumed by love, not by hate or vengeance. He doesn't care about the evil beings unleashed in the world or what part that his wife has to play in all this. Hell, if harnessing his own abilities wasn't the best way to save her, he wouldn't even try to do it in the first place. You can tell he's not a man seeking to make the world a better place, just his own tiny part in it. Even with the immense amount of lore and backstory that makes up the world around him, somehow his story still manages to stand out. And not because he's the main character, but because his goal hits a lot closer to home than most of us would like to admit. Or maybe that's just me. On his journey to save Suki, he's assisted by people with varying goals. Some want to save Suki for unknown reasons, others want to take down the big bad, and saving Suki is just a large part to play and all that. The story is heavily side character centered, with a lot of them having mini arcs of their own within the story's larger plots, and almost all of them have quite in-depth, really dark backstories. It seems in this world, the stronger the gift you have, the more scuffed your backstory is. Whether it's having your own father trying to off you, and your mother taking her own life to get away from you because you can read minds, or losing your entire family to famine and cannibalism, and then accidentally wiping out your entire village because fate itself won't let you die. The powers in this manga seem to all come with a past that creates scars that run far too deep, but these powers are nothing compared to the powers that interact with the divine, the power to see the future, control yin and yang, turn back time. These gifts and people who wield them have a large part to play in the story, and yet the story of a man and his wife is the most attention-grabbing part of this entire manga. And that's why I'm not really going in depth into the powers and the battles and the really shonen aspects, because I don't really think that's the point of the manga. Most of you are probably tired of hearing the word love at this point, but it's really a major part of the story, no matter the outcome that love might bring. Take for instance the head of the Tsukimikado clan, a powerful man well feared and respected throughout Japan as the leader of the gifted throughout the land. But he's also a father so blinded by love that he fails to take action against a being that can spell destruction for the entire world, because it resided within his son, Hatake. Or Madara, a girl so often cast aside and discriminated by those who fear the power, that she joined hands with a monster because he showed her a semblance of love, and lost her life because of it. The story of Steel of the Celestial Shadow is one of human emotion, and a lot of it are the ugly ones, how it takes, hurt, destroys, but it's also a story about how the beautiful ones can give, heal, and rebuild. It's a story about how love can prevail, even in places where all seems lost. And not just on the side of good, love is a powerful emotion that affects gifts and powers no matter what side of the battle you are on. And these themes in the story is made greater still by the accompanying arts. While for most part the arts in this manga might look very simple, with no especially over the top character designs or battles drawn to show the enormity of power. Well, except this. The art encapsulates single moments and gives them emotion. The close-up shots in this manga bring life to the story. Extreme expressions of rage, pain, loss, love, ecstasy, insanity, longing, even the moments before death, brought to us in ways that pull you into the story. The artist also does incredible work with the cover arts, something you expect to see on the cover of a Times bestseller, another underrated weekly manga. I wish I could talk a bit more about the art and side characters in this manga, but I tend to be a worse storyteller the longer these videos get. But if you made it to the end of this video, please make sure to leave a like and put in the comments what you think I can improve on in the coming videos. So until next time, this was the source material. Thank you for watching, bye, have a wonderful week, and God bless.